Hello, welcome to another episode of Emotional Strength Training. So, I realized why I have such massive social anxiety and this hole in this self confidence that I just can't seem to fill. No matter how much I learn, no matter how big my system gets and how much I've proven it, it's almost like if I fall asleep the next day, it just like drops out. There's like a leak. And I shared with ChatGPT just everything I remember about my childhood. And as I was sharing, the pieces just kept coming together, and it was just like, oh my gosh. Like, of course, I have trouble in every single domain, right? So, this is kind of the history of my becoming. This is also why I am doing this live video. And I realize why I have trouble speaking out loud in English because I don't do it. I don't actually do it that often. I don't. When I'm at home, I speak Cantonese to my parents. I have had I have had social anxiety my entire life, and it's just like there's a part of me that just thought like, wait, that can't be right. Like I speak all the time, but it's like, wait, it's not out loud. Like I speak in my brain all the time, but it's just like ever since as a little kid, that's just what I did. So it's so weird to realize that I don't speak out loud using my vocal cords like ever. And whew, so I'm just pausing for a moment here and just the anxiety is coming, which is kind of very standard, right? The first uh, quarter of my video nowadays is still me just sitting with the emotions, bringing what's on the inside outside, not hiding anything. So this is the emotional strength training protocol that I've been building and working on for 3 years. And so yes, this is me again to frame these videos again. I do these videos really completely for myself to keep on challenging myself, to keep growing, to pushing through my anxieties, because every single thing I want is on the far side of this fear, this freeze response. Okay. And I want to share everything that I found out to the best of my abilities while still honoring my past, my history, right? No parents are perfect, and that's not the point of blame point of pointing blame. Well, anyways, but it's like I need to say these things out loud to get it out of me to validate myself. And so one of the things that ChatGPT is really good for, and it's also one of the things that people warn other people about, is ChatGPT is very good at validating. It is so good at validating. And in this case, like it's actually what I needed. I I couldn't get everything together to have somebody else validate it for me. I have social anxieties. I don't connect, right? So by being able to just speak to ChatGPT and just write down in my jumbled thought ways all the things I remember, and then I ask Chat to like from everything I've shared with you, please reflect it back to me. Tell me what would a child be like growing up under these circumstances, and what kind of challenges would this child have as an adult? And of course, it's exactly what I would think, right? So, um, should I just go into it? Yeah, I'm just gonna go into it. I'm still feeling, this kind of little flutter inside here. I have this sense that like I'm gonna screw up at any moment, and I that's just how the message of the emotion feels, right? So one of the words I would say to that is, hello, past trauma, that anxiety. It's future me here, right? So I'm letting my future self guide me, my highest self. I'm embodying my highest self and coming here to talk about my past. And there's a part of me that doesn't quite want to do that. And that also signals to me that's probably what I should do, assuming I am respectful to everyone and this is not about pointing blame at anyone. So, at the core of my being, I have huge troubles with English. And this is why. Why? I've had suspicions of this until it all came together just earlier this morning. I was just writing all these things into chat and having it reflect back to me. It's like, okay, this is why I have challenges with English, but not Cantonese. I've also noticed that I've noted that in the past, or even now, when I speak Cantonese at home, I do not have the social anxiety blocks that I have when I'm speaking English to other people. Right. So partly it's because I moved to the United States when I was 6. So at 6 is when I moved straight into first grade. And I'm seeing all these little kids in my social circles and my partners. And age of 6 is critical to socialization. Like I didn't quite realize the significance of that. And having shifted my entire environment, my entire verbal language, being unable to communicate, what effects does that have on the 6-year-old little me? So I think that's the core of my English trauma, but it goes beyond that, right? Um, well, thanks to, at least I attribute, doesn't have to be true, but I'm just attributing my writing trauma to the writing, to the system, right? Where you're kind of forced to write essays. And because I'm very ADHD, I would like the anxiety of it would block the creativity flow, right? Until the very last moment, and the anxiety gets big enough that it just like gives me enough energy to push through. So most of the time, I wrote my papers last minute. I handed it in all the way through college. I did all that, but that is traumatizing to say the least, right? Every time I think about writing, it's just this pressure, this pain. And of course, once I'm out of school, once I don't have to do it anymore, why would I do it? Right? So when there's things that didn't have that deadline, I now couldn't really write. Right? Every time I sit down to write, I would just feel this massive anxiety. Anxiety would block my verbal skills, right? Both English, both speaking and writing, right? So this is the core of my English trauma. So that's speaking. But what about this double? I mean, not having friends and not having social skills, I feel like that's already pretty bad enough, right? But then I've also realized that my parents, my mom specifically, is kind of more of a traditional Chinese parent. And back then they thought, well, there's a few things they thought. They were taught to let us cry it out, right? Because you have every time the kid cries and you go to them, you're gonna condition them to cry, That, I understand, is deeply incorrect with attachment theory, and that already set me up for a pretty steep emotional dip. At the same time, my parents fought, right? So again, not uncommon, but as a child with parents fighting, it was a very chaotic environment. And so, but my physical health was always maintained, right? I always had food. Uh, we never really worried about housing, right? So this causes a confusion. Is the world safe or isn't it? So in attachment theory, this would be a disorganized, anxious, avoidant attachment style. Like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Right, so that is about as challenging of an attachment style as it gets, right? So let's see, anxious, avoidant, basically disorganized, disorganized. Whew. Um, English trauma, social anxiety as a result, overly protective mom. I don't remember. I only remember a memory of going to a sleepover once. And I don't think I was even allowed to stay the night. That's the memory I have. So I feel like combined with my social anxiety plus an overly protective mom, I just never socialized. I just never got out. I tried. I remember even in middle school, like, oh my gosh, there was this party that I could have gone to, and I got my little bag of gifts to bring to the party, and I walked over, and I forgot why. Like, it just never happened. Like, it just, and I felt so disappointed. So, like, even then, like, I couldn't. Um, Another story is that throughout high school, I just never had friends or very good friends all the way up until high school. And even for the first 2 years of high school, I was in one high school. And then I applied, or my parents applied me to International Baccalaureate for the second half. And I thought about, well, my life kind of sucked up until that point, anyways. Why not shift high school so I can have a fresh start? That's what I thought, right? Um, yeah. So it wasn't even all the way through college where I saw the same people over and over again, and I got to slowly say, "Hey, hi, want to grab lunch?" Like just slowly get it out of my shell. And yeah, I mean, fast forward all the way to now. Let's just skip over that for now. We're talking about my childhood here. So, my parents fought, and specifically, my mom and I fought, right? We used to have this epic, over the top screaming matches. Until one day, I was actually looking out these very same windows. I'm in my childhood bedroom. So this is why this is the best place for me to do my um, childhood. What is it called again? Um, Anyways, work, shadow work. My mom and I used to fight. Epic, just over the top, screaming. I would like rip things off the walls, like just this rage until one day I was looking out these windows and boom, a thought just occurred to me. And it hit me with a flash, right? The imagery is just the imagery, but it hit me with entire force. And the imagery that occurred to me was this. Oh, this is just like a microphone brought too close to the speakers, right? Microphone too close to the speakers. As long as either side is perfectly quiet, nobody would, everything's fine. But as soon as anybody made any noise, the escalation, like, I'm angry, and then this, don't you give me that tone, and I'm like, the escalation would just make everything explode out of proportion, right? So in that one moment of, I would actually call that aha moment a classical satori, like instantly. I saw that, like, oh, it's nobody's fault. It's just a feedback loop. Okay. Well, I'm the only one on my side of this feedback loop. Either side could have stopped it, but I'm the only one on my side. So I'll stop it, right? So from that one moment on, I was maybe 12 or 13, I don't know, right? But from that one moment on, I never lost control of my anger quite like that again. And the nature of that aha moment, that satori, right, was that it was nobody's fault. So any anger and stories that I created in my child brain, that moment of aha just wiped it clean. It's like, oh, it was nobody's fault. It's just a microphone brought too close to the speakers. And the feedback loop just explodes. It's a mechanical process. That is the structure of a classical satori. It wipes away. Oh, that's something else. Come back for live videos. There we go. Okay. It just wipes away all the previous stories, and I literally don't remember if I had any. I bet I do. It was over the top rage as a little child. And then I still got angry. I just didn't lose control like that. Of course, that probably led to a whole bunch of repressed anger, right? But that is the one bright spot of my upbringing, was this one moment. Later on, as I explore all the different emotions, anger certainly is one of the most dangerous of all the emotions. Anger is the one emotion that anything we put anger on, we're targeting for destruction. It is the emotion of destroy, right? The Hulk smash. So, oh, come on. Breathe. Hmm. Thank you, coach. Okay. So, yeah, this was probably, and I kind of understand why. Like, if I was to rewrite history and pretend I chose all this for this one moment, right? I couldn't choose it more perfectly because I needed this Satori. I really needed it. I can see how anger regulation issues cause really bad problems in the world. Really bad. Like epically bad, right? And this just completely gave me the freedom but it required my mom and I to be into screaming matches for me to hit that point of aha moment. So, do I really blame anyone? Because I got what I got, right? And what was I trying to say? Oh, here's the other quiet blessing, right, of social anxiety. As an adult, I look back to see how other people's lives have gotten astray. And one of the easiest ways to be taken astray is to associate with the wrong crowd, with the wrong influence, which I think is probably one of the reasons why my mom was so overly protective. And when I think about it, I think that's true. Right. And because of a combination of, language trauma, massive social anxiety, and an overly protective mom, I just never had friends. And here is the aha point that ChatGPT gave me in the reflection back. I just told ChatGPT everything that I remember in this really rough format, and I asked them, what would a child like that grow up into statistically, right? And one of the things it said was that they would have identity issues, and because I never got my own identity reflected back to me, like who I am, who I think of myself. And here's one thing that I realized, right? So right now, as I'm doing this video, I'm staring at myself right here in my screen. So I have this set up. I realize if I'm not doing that when I'm doing an improv class scene, I don't see myself in the mirror. I don't have a felt sense of myself. When I go into the bathroom and I see myself, it's like, oh, okay, this is how I look, and this is like how I probably look to others. But when I don't see that, I don't have a felt sense. And I didn't quite realize why I never felt like a person. Because all throughout childhood, I was never reflected, I never had social reflections back to me. And here's the other thing. As an adult, I start noticing certain patterns. When I speak to my mom, most of the time, I'm not speaking. It's just mom talking. Again, nothing wrong with that, right? It's just my mom is what my mom is. But I don't speak. I just don't. Even in Cantonese, I sit around. I am, and here's the other thing. I am the youngest. I have a brother that's 5 years older, and to me, he is a perfect older brother. He's great at programming. He has a fancy job and a wife, and down in Bay Area, and 2 kids, and just a house, and just he's got everything together. And what do I have? Well, this system that I'm building. It's kind of all I have. But as I was, when I was young, and even my mom would tell me this, like, oh yeah, everything my mom wanted help with, she would ask my brother because he's 5 years older to help watch it over me and everything. So my brother got a lot of responsibilities, and he was even allowed to ride the bus when he was little in Hong Kong. So he got his practice in self-efficacy. Me, however, I don't remember ever choosing anything in my entire life. Maybe a few things like, do I want to go to the new high school, or I don't know which college, like some basic stuff. But I never felt like I chose anything. And growing up, even till now, I just kind of went along with the flow, right? Um, Again, as more traditional Chinese parents, like they believe that you just do things for your kid, and all they do is just study. You don't need them to do chores and whatever. Now, as an adult, me looking back, I realize, ooh, having everything done for me was not helpful for my self efficacy, for my ability to do the micro things. I just don't. Like even washing dishes, it took me a long time to like figure out the routine of things, how to organize things. I still have trouble with that. And I look around like my parents doesn't have any skill in that either, so like how should I know? Nobody ever taught me. So my low self-efficacy as a baby, everything done for me. Parents fighting, a disorganized attachment. Cry it out. Um, what else did I say? Yeah, there's a thought that I'm not gonna share. It's not great, but it's not something. It's fine. It's yeah. Private thoughts. So, anyways, with an older brother who got to be an older brother and have responsibilities, and I just kind of always followed along. We went on vacation. We just followed along. I was just kind of, I don't even know what to call it. I'm just a tag along, I guess. I don't speak at home, but when I do speak Cantonese, Chinese, I don't have the social anxiety. Right? Right? I don't have it. And I imagine if I was a kid that grew up with English from the very beginning, and I was fluent to here, and I instantly jumped into socializing, and I was able to get the micro socializing skills, where would I be today? So you see how everything's adding together. The language trauma, the parenting style, parents fighting, me and my parents screaming matches, an older brother, not, and then so right. So if language is our brain's operating system, well, my core critical time when I was developing, this is this was all encoded in Cantonese. I don't have that much like all my thoughts are in English. I I rarely think in Cantonese, and now because of this conversation, I may actually work to go into it, but there's a lot of things that I just don't have the grip for language wise or the feel for. So a lot of my inner subconscious being is locked away in a different programming language that I don't currently have access to, right? So again, this is all part of the trauma of like, why can't I access and make myself feel better no matter how much progress I make? Well, and currently, I'm not making a whole lot of money yet because I feel fear about selling, and I mean it's classic. But since I'm not making money, again, the capitalistic trauma of like worthiness and shame, just like, oh, I should be, that adds to, you know, the depth of the hole. So here are the dimensions, right? Physical dimensions. It's only until recent adult age did I built all the self-efficacy in the physical domain. I couldn't write. I couldn't speak. Social anxiety, so I had no self-esteem there. Um, Anxiety in the emotional plane. Since the anger was blocked and or suppressed, it probably transmuted into depression and angry depression instead of over the top explosive fights. I enter depressive cycles in which I don't feel like doing anything because of an overly controlling mom and my natural rebellion instinct. So that is the nature of. Oh, that's not done. Okay, okay. That is why I am at the bottom of a very deep hole. And every time I try to fill my self-esteem cup, my confidence cup, it would work for a little bit, maybe a day or two. But eventually, I would wake up, I would go to sleep, wake up, and I would take a drink and it would be empty. And I would feel like everything I've ever done, I would doubt everything. My self-esteem, self-efficacy, and the difficulty with changing it could partly be because all that was encoded in Cantonese and not English. Here are the pluses, right? I got the Satori of anger control. I bypassed a lot of social pitfalls, right? I know a lot of people, if they have meet the wrong partner, they have children with them, like that's a lifetime anchor. And here I am with time to build my system. And because I couldn't write and I didn't really have social activities, I have so much time and it forced me until I was so frustrated into starting to do visual thinking and to just start drawing. I just brought a piece of paper down and started drawing my day and just over and over and over because I couldn't write. Journaling is kind of silly, right? Um, which got me into visual thinking, which amplified my thoughts, allowed me to create the system that I have created. So I believe, and this is simply rewriting history for whatever it's worth, right? It feels like everything in my life had a purpose to bring me to here, to bring me to the lowest, it feels like the lowest possible emotional state without going a little too deep. If it's too deep, a lot of people don't survive, right? And my physical safety was mostly always ensured. Food was always there, even if I had no choice on what it was, and but it was always healthy, right? So I don't really have any complaints, but I just had to say all this out loud to myself again. I said it all to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT gave me this reflection back of maybe maybe I will look at it a little bit right here. Let's see. Do I really want to look at this? Childhood trauma. I don't think I really need to, but I just wanted to look at it. See, I need the validation of like this is real. This happened to me. And I guess I'm also building this into the emotional system, shadow system that I will be helping other people with. Yeah, the hidden gifts of this split personality of Cantonese and English and the lack of social reflection to solidify a self. It means that I have this self that isn't solid that I can rebuild. I didn't have to deconstruct it because it was never constructed to begin with. So it helped me think abstractly. It helped me have so much time. Um, but it also showed me why, gave me validation. Validate. Okay, so this is note to self for other people, right? Like, oh, I also asked it to show me all the different shadows that there are. And so now I start having a list, and there's only so many. This is part of the power of niching down, right? For me, I'm utterly focused on self coaching. So the smaller I go, the more I can expand fully into that category and learn absolutely everything about it. And I'm getting to the end. It's just like there's only so many shadows, emotions. I mean, and then I focus on fear. My anger is mostly under control. Uh, Hurt, depression. I need to discover what my desires are in order to fuel them. So the cool thing is I am finding the edges. And the wild thing of ChatGPT is I can ask it to tell me everything about emotional shadows, and it just does it. It just lists it out. Boom, 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 boom. And I use my own experience to validate it. And if it feels comprehensive in my brain, right, I am reaching the edges of all known shadow. Even with my conflict with my friend, who I helped for 3 years, and then she turned around and attacked me socially, right? I understood I was playing the rescuer role. And to somebody who is in a victim role, even ChatGPT was saying, like, oftentimes if a person's in a victim role, they were expecting to be rescued, and instead they got cornered and they felt attacked. They will flip that person into the perpetrator role. And that's the danger of playing the rescuer. So I don't do it anymore. And the other thing I learned, part of the shadow, is oh, the predator and prey shadow is huge, right? It's everywhere. It's money, it's relationships, it's huge. And me even using that word as a metaphor, especially in a fight, like, oh, right, that was my bad. I won't be doing that again, right? But beyond that, I'm also validated in that what she did was massive violence. Like, ooh. And yes, I am an emotional immortal, right? So all these things that I've built to make me uh, ultra resilient. So I could just absorb that. And here is a quick preview of the people protocol, like all people, right? If I don't like something or somebody, here's what I do. If I don't like something, I simply don't do that to anyone else in the future. So with this friend here, she attacked me socially and accused me of being a monster, calling me names. That's kind of rude. Like, we're not in fifth grade anymore, you know? So I won't be doing that. And I learned that I could handle something like that. That's about as bad as it gets. Like, I'm very careful, right? I'm so careful, but this friend would always pull me into fights, and I couldn't figure out why. And I think it was because of the victim projecting perpetrator, like accusations, like the energy tone, like it drives a certain defensiveness Anyways, I've learned my lesson. I will not rescue. And if I was to coach somebody, if I'm going to challenge their fundamental beliefs, I will ask explicit consent. Very clear, very clear. So I've learned my lesson. I hope her all the best. We got into a fight. She caused me violence, harm. I caused her harm unintentionally. That's what life is. Let's move on. All right. So yeah, that ChatGPT was able to help me pull all that together. I just told ChatGPT the entire story and what I thought, and it gave me those outlines of like, oh, this is a victim, perpetrator, rescuer, triangle, flip, and yes, me using the word predator and prey is triggering, and she doesn't have that much experience in shadow work to understand projection and fear, and probably had outside influence to nudge her into that direction. So, anyways, what was I even talking about? ChatGPT. Oh, going into a very specific niche and really blowing it out. I'm starting. It's coming together now, right? I'm starting to write it out. I have a draft together. I only paused to do this live video. Um, right. So for all people, so here's the all people protocol. This is why the system is so so elegant. It covers every possibility in very simplistic terms. Simple but comprehensive. They're either people I like or people I don't like. If I like them, cool. I learn what they do, learn what to do, and do more of it. If I like, well, anyways, to spread the joy, right? If I don't like somebody and I don't like what they do, guess what I don't do? I learn what not to do. I won't do that. What not to do. And the things that happen to me, I learn how to handle it. How to handle difficult situations and people. That's kind of it. That's all the possibility space for other people. Either something happens to me that I like, great. Let's figure out what that was and let's do that, for other people. Like validate them, thank them. Like all these things are good. If I don't like it, all right, I won't do that. That I can only control what I do. And should it happen to me, like somebody attacking me socially, I'll learn to handle it, eat it, absorb it. I'm an emotional immortal. I grow, and it's a emotional strength training. Okay. For emotional, I am an emotional immortal. So I'm not going to die as long as my physical body is safe, right? So as long as my physical body is safe, right? And I'm doing my daily routine, eating healthy, sleeping well, drinking water, and I maintain my health, wealth, relationships, guess what? My emotions, no matter how bad I feel, I still need to do those things, then I am emotionally immortal. And then I lean into the emotions. I do emotional strength training for all things. And I only focus on these four. Fear, the biggest one. Anger, frustration. I was given Satori, so this one is easy for me. Hurt and depression when I have no energy. That one's tricky. Grief, work, feeling the anger, and then feeling the fear. And then now I am discovering desire, and then delayed gratification, holding the desire and not fulfilling it. Uh, um, Saying no to addictive things, right? So these are the emotional strength trainings. As long as I am an emotional immortal, because I maintain my physical body and all my routines, no matter how I feel, then I can dive into my deep shadow work, feel really terrible, and be like, oh, I feel terrible, but I'm still gonna brush my teeth, shower, eat well, sleep well. Even when I feel really good, desire, like, oh, I'm getting what I want, that can cause me to go into dopamine overrun when I get too excited and I can't sleep, and then that is what can trigger a manic cycle. So I'm aware of that. So as long as I sleep well, even if I feel good, I am going to sleep, make sure I get into bed for 8 to 9 hours, even if I don't think I'll fall asleep. That's the trick to it. I have to practice meditation and be in bed and like do whatever. Here's the other things I use. I have an emotional battery. All of emotion is a comparison. So if I had a really bad day yesterday, right? This is having a really bad day. Yesterday. If today was just a normal day and not a really bad day, well, guess what? By comparison, it's already pretty good because it wasn't that bad, you know? So anytime that something bad happens to me, or any day where I feel really bad, I have this on my hand for a reason. I picture this like a rubber band pulling down, just like, oh, it's just going to give me a battery to charge up this comparison so that tomorrow it's going to probably be pretty all right, even if it's simply a normal day. And if it's good, well, I'm just going to enjoy it, savor every moment because I know I will come back down. This is the emotional battery. Ooh, emotional battery. So now, any day that feels really bad, well, I just ride it out. And if it's anxiety, well, it's a roller coaster. Roller coaster. I lean into it. Wee, you know, wee. Anyways, so I have these emotional transmutation spells. One of them is like loneliness, right? I am the loneliness that created the universe. I am the loneliness that created the universe. Hmm. So even if I feel really bad, it's like, oh, that's okay, you know? Or grief is love with nowhere to go. It's like, oh, like I miss somebody, or like, oh, it's like, oh, it's just love. Yeah. This is the flip side of epic love is epic missing somebody, grief. It's just the cost we pay for epic love, right? So I have all these transmutation and an emotional battery to basically just charge all negative experience into a more positive tomorrow. This makes me, this is the ultimate emotional transmutation spell that blankets all possibility space, right? All positive emotions, all negative emotions. I can handle them both. All positive people, all negative people. I can handle them both. Symbolic, this visual thinking allows me to store almost anything in this one, two, three, four, five, and like a six-dimensional spirituality lid on top. So in these six dimension, but mostly these five, I can store everything. Plus, what to do? Well, the health wealth relationship map covers almost everything. Right? This is health, immediate wealth, close relationships. Second order wealth is my mental, emotional health, flow states. Second order wealth is my job, career, or business that refills my bank account. But what kind of businesses do I go into? This is determined by my life purpose, growing from A to B. And then where do my close relationships come from? My community. And what's the highest game I could play in health? Well, what if every single moment I lived was a fully embodied spirituality? Here's the spell, right? What if one day I suddenly realized, wait, every moment, every word I spoke was already poetry. Every move I make was already dance. Every sound I make, ooh, ooh, ah, 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 is already song. And I chain that moment by moment into a fully embodied spirituality called moment by moment awareness practice, MMA. And I chain moment by moment to the end of my days. How good would my life be? That is the fully embodied spirituality. That's right there. Right? And then what is relationships on the highest tier? Well, we're all one. Cool. It's all me. Just different versions of me out there. So I want them all to succeed. We're all family. And we're all Buddhas already. Nothing to do. We've already arrived. But just because I think that way doesn't mean everyone else thinks that way. So we still need to do basic self-defense and defend our community self-defense. And the people that come and stay in our life is determined by how well we maintain our boundaries. And the boundaries are yeses and nos, and how well we attain to our own hurt so that we're not having other people complete us. We are complete in ourselves. We don't need to chase other people. And ultimately, all judgment is self-judgment. So you can do shadow work by looking at the judgments we have of other people and know that they only speak something about ourselves and our shadow self, nothing about them. That's the map. That's the health, wealth, relationship map. And it works because it's mapped to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is my version, slightly varied. And I'm doing a full write out of all this, right? Physical safety, financial, relationships, so love and belonging, and then life purpose. And then fun and R&R. Then um, art or science. And then self-actualization, and then collective actualization, playing the biggest game possible. Cool. So that's my modified Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it maps perfectly to the health wealth relationships. Health, wealth, relationships, right? And then life purpose is right here. As long as we get our life purpose or get our money from our life purpose, then everything is self-sustaining. Okay. I have other maps like the science of success, but I'm not going to go into that right now. I have 4 minutes left. So I have other maps of why we get stuck. But yeah, I have maps upon maps upon maps and spells to transmute emotions, know what to do and do it. This is, oh, and this is the map to actualization, right? When we start out in life, we start out as a dot. And everything's exciting, and we start growing and eating information and start eating the world. The problem is nobody told us when to stop. And so we just keep eating and absorbing knowledge, and then we got so big that we don't really know who we are, what we're doing, where the world begins or ends. So it's too much. So we start throwing everything away that's not essentially us. If we have 50 t-shirts, what's my top 5? If all the hundreds of songs in my song library, what would be my one theme song? You know, it's like, what is essentially me? What's my life purpose? What am I about? So then, as we keep doing that, the amount of information in our head is going to shrink smaller and smaller. And so we can get fuller and fuller and be more of a specialist until at one point in the future, there'll come a day when we're walking through a door and we keep doing this, right? We throw away everything that's not essentially us. There'll come a day when we cross a threshold in that one moment. Every single thing in that moment would be us. We'll be wearing our favorite clothes, listening to our favorite theme song. It'll be our company with our team members on our life path. Like this, it'll be exactly us. And from that one point, we become a single point of essence again. And we explode out into the world as an example of what is possible. That is how a star is born. And then once you're tired of your um, empire, and it's just too much effort to maintain it, you start giving everything away. And eventually, at some point, we will pass away from the world. And when the last person remembers our name, we will fade away from history forever, leaving room for the next generation. Right? So this is the star map to self-actualization. So yeah, everything in my life has been to drive this hole that I've been in as deep as possible, and my anxious of avoidant disorganized attachment means that I never feel enough. I never feel good enough. And so I just keep adding and adding and adding. And so I have this system. And finally, I'm like, I've got every possibility space. I covered everything. And now I'm just practicing every single moment of my life, bringing it all together. So I'm right here. I built all these tools, and now I am punching through. That is why I exist, to bring this system into the world. And it's such a beautiful system. I'm really proud of myself. Um, you know, and one of the frames is I am infinity. Infinity can't feel small or big, it's just infinity. So it created this game called Me, and it made the perfect circumstances so that I could feel as bad as possible so that I can drive my way out of it from the very bottom without going too far down because then it'll compromise my physical health. And using terribleism, I'll do it as fast as possible without worrying about the details. and being as raw and as open as possible completely. That is the strategy. 10 seconds left to the hour. I love you all. I'm going to be bringing this system out into the world, and it's been a rough time existing until now, but it has all been worth it. If and when I bring the system into the world, and it's already out there, even if something happens to me, you know, I have this record. I hope it gets out into the world. If nothing happens to me, I'm going to charge into the world and teach it full volume. I love you all. I believe you're all just different versions of me, and of course, I want myself to succeed, right? And so my definition of love is this: love is the desire for that which I love to survive and thrive. Okay, so I love you all. I hope you all survive and thrive because you're just a different version of me in different containers and in different names. And I hope the best for all of us. Okay, I love you all. Till next time.